Classic of classics, CRKT M16 Carlson design. Folks, Fernando doing another video for the more survivalists, and you've probably seen this knife a million times. That's because it's one of the more legendary EDC knives, and it's the first time I actually acquire one of these. Well, this one specific, I do have other CRKTs, but I've always looked at it and thought, yeah, it is well designed. It is actually a very finely designed folder knife. I cannot find much of a criticism about the way this blade goes. It is exactly what you need, nothing more, nothing less. The handle has the proper shape and it does feel comfortable in the hand. In this case, you have a very nice spear point. This is 3.5 inches, almost 4 ounces. So it's that Goldilocks point of where it's not too big, not too large, not too heavy, not too light, and it does everything you need a folder to be capable of doing. This is why the M16 is so favored by military and law enforcement over the years. And this is definitely Carlson's most successful design, I would say. It is the finest design that, at least in my opinion, he came up with, and he has several good ones. But the lines here just flow like water. You know, the idea of not trying to do anything revolutionary, just doing things that work. And it's one of those weird things in which when I saw this, like in videos or pictures and magazines and so on back in the day, you were like, yeah, it's good. It makes all the sense in the world. But when you have it in your hand, that's when you truly appreciate it. It's not always the case. Very often I will see a design and say, yeah, that is great, that's okay, that sucks, that would not work. And when you actually hold it, you're not surprised at all. It is everything exactly what you expected. But maybe because of the status that this knife has now, and maybe one of the things that surprised me the most is how finely made it is. For a $60 knife, guys, I will leave the link below if I find it. It's not always the case, but I'll leave the link below if you want to buy it in Amazon. I'll leave the links also for my books, True Survival Skills, Surviving the Economic Collapse. I would be surprised if you watch this channel and you don't have these two already, but worth reminding for the new subscribers that, yeah, subscribe. It's always appreciated. Share the video. This is a knife you want when you just want a knife that works. If you don't want to overburden yourself with a big ass folder, if you don't want to have a tiny little thing that I understand what you're saying regarding little tiny knives that are not as good often as the larger ones. Don't get me wrong, yes, the tiny knife will usually do everything you need when it comes to opening boxes, packages, a little bit of, sure. But this is the Goldilocks. This is the standard. This is what I would tell you. I'm not a knife guy. I don't want to own 100 knives. I just want to have a good, not good. I want to have an excellent EDC knife. Okay, get yourself this. You don't want to buy a $300 CT. You don't want to mess around with which cold steel model you like the most, right? You don't want a big heavy folder. This is the one you want. M16. 3.5 inch, 3.5 ounces weight, Aus 8 steel, spear points, great penetration, great for thrusting. It has a nice edge. You do need to touch up that little edge a little bit, at least for me. I'm very used to having my knives razor sharp, hair splitting sharp. This was sharp enough. I liked it a little bit sharper, so that's what I did. So you have all of the blade you need, you have all of the handle you need with a finely well contoured shape that for most hands it will be just enough. Medium to large size hands, maybe it's just barely enough to give you a full purchase on the knife. That's all you need. I mean, if you're going to be doing heavy work for long hours, you go yourself with a fixed blade, something like this. If you're going to be working several hours and you need a small blade for that, yeah, get yourself a fixed blade. These are cheap enough, rugged enough. This is something that you just want to have with you when you need it, and when you need it to get the job done. The flipper design, I'm favoring a whole lot. I like these a lot. The flipper is what I've gone with. I mean, I had my years of thumb stud, and that's okay. It gives you great control, but once you're used to the flipper, it is super fast and reliable. In this case, one of the things you have to keep in mind, and again, I want to mention again how well made this is. For 60 bucks, which is what I got it for. Again, in Amazon, I still think it's going for that, but don't, just follow the links below and see what is that you find at what price. Made in Taiwan, but the first thing that caught my attention is, man, this is very well made. I'm used to some nice, expensive knives, but this is perfectly centered. There is no edge, sharp little edge. No, the material AUS-8, as I said before, steel for those liners there, and this is fiberglass injected nylon, probably if I'm getting that right. Yeah, it's some kind of fiberglass composite material that is not exactly plastic. It's a lot stronger than that. Okay, and in a stroke of genius from Carlson, you have these holes that make it lighter. It is aesthetically pleasing, and you have a little bit more purchase, a little bit more traction on these scales. That's exactly what you want in great designs. You want things that achieve several things at once. Okay, when it comes to the locking mechanism, well, you first open it, you lock your blade. Remember, when you have a quality knife, there's a good chance it's going to be a little bit tough at first. For example, people that buy themselves a Leatherman, $250 Leatherman, you open it for the first time, oh, this is crap. This is so hard and it's not nice and it's very tough. Well, it just needs to settle a little bit, have those contact points wear exactly in the points they need to wear, and have enough friction. Open it a few hundred times while watching a movie and it will settle, and it will be butter smooth yet tight. This is the same thing. This has been super smooth for me. I mean, I was not expecting it to be that smooth, but I will tell you this, it is, at first it may have a little bit of, it's not dropping on its own and so on. That's exactly the way it should be, because it's tough enough, it's tight enough so as to have enough ease for opening. But I will tell you, when you open this a couple hundred times, you will have a butter smooth mechanism. Right now it's not as butter smooth as it will be, but it will get there eventually. I'm just mentioning this for people that are not all that used to some of these tools, knives, and so on. It requires a little bit of those washers wearing and having a nicer action. Okay, there you go. Yeah, camera not helping me out. M16 03 is because of the spear point tip, Z because of the injected nylon, the glass material. Carlson design, fantastic, beautiful blade. And you have all the blade you need. With a locking mechanism, once you open it, okay, you have your liner lock. But it's not a traditional liner lock because it has an extra safety, as you can see there. So this makes it extra secure. Liner locks on its own, more than secure enough. That's been my experience over the years. A good liner lock is fine. This just makes it a little bit extra secure because that metal part drops and prevents the liner lock from sliding to the side, even if for abuse and so on. It is not a fixed blade. You cannot abuse this in the same way, but it is a very secure, reliable locking mechanism, and I do appreciate that little extra safety. Also consider, you have a blade that when you open the flipper itself guards your finger a lot better than if you didn't have that. That's one more thing that I like, because this, let's be honest, it could end up being used in a defense situation, and you will be very well served by this blade. 3.5 inch, sure, it could be 4 inches, yeah, okay, but this is okay. Make no mistake, this will do a heck of a lot of damage. With this tip and with a nice edge, maybe of your own, touching it up if you know how to do that sort of thing. I like my knives, again, razor sharp, that will go through flesh like butter, right? Or anything else that I need to cut. But with that, you have a little bit more reassurance that your hand will not slide forward even when hitting something a little bit harder, okay? The clip goes on both sides. No, it cannot go tip up, mostly because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. You have to pinch this and open it from that position because it's a flipper. So yeah, flippers will usually have that fixed position so as to, you know, not much of a case of bringing it out here and nothing to flip. Right here, either side goes both left and right-handed, and boom, there you go. Guys, really like this one. See you on the next video. Take care.